So some fun parts about being webmaster is that I get to contribute to the JCL in a way where I don't have to like advocate in a way, like I don't have to cheer and spirit, nor do I need to spend a lot of time dealing with all like the leadership things. It's like you're kind of working as like a background person, influencing the way things work in JCL. And you also get to provide a lot of information to people. And if anybody asks you for information, documents and such, instead of like going through the hassle of like going to a teacher directly, there are documents on the website that you can easily print things out and you can easily get it done. And you know, it adds to a lot of you have a lot of creative license in making the website, so it's a great thing to do, especially if you're creatively inclined. So some challenges about being a webmaster is that time management is one thing. So during the school year, you're gonna find yourself to not have a lot of time to deal with the website. I mean, the best thing I would say to overcome that is either do it all in one sitting, or plan it in spaced intervals where you can update as well as add something new. Well, I mean, yeah, updating and adding something, which is the point in doing the website, is to maintain it to a current standard. So for me, I put out some like announcements and stuff that update around twice a month or so. In which case, like the events usually happen in a way where you don't have to worry about it until a month after it happened. In which case, you can switch it to another event to update it to its most current. And then another real challenge about being a webmaster is you find that there are a lot of small things that can go wrong. For example, what I found to be particular issues with the domain, where you have to set it up, and the problem is that sometimes it doesn't connect well. Sometimes it says that there's some error or that your thing is going to expire, and I would say take care of that kind of thing first rather than doing it later, because it became much of a hassle once I figured out I had to deal with it later. So for some of you prospective webmasters out there, I would say that some preparations you want to make would be, one, to have a definitive idea of what you want to put on the About section of BLSJCL website. So for example, you don't want to make it offensive or discriminatory or word it in a way that's particularly weird. What you want to do is you want to make it holistic, encompassing, and of course grammatically correct. I can't stress that enough. Another thing would be put some design aspects into it. Don't just use, like, when you're using Weebly, anybody can do a Weebly, but to do it well, I would say it's something else that you need to put in a lot more effort in if you want to make it look good. So for example, the current BLSJCL website actually is on a Weebly, but the thing is that it's made in a way that it doesn't look like it's done with Weebly. I guess having some knowledge in coding would be very useful, as I had some, but if you don't have any, there are still many ways that you could do things to make it look better. I mean, for one, there's some aesthetic things that you can take care of easily that would distinguish you between a plain Weebly website, some of those ones that you see people make in like 5 minutes, versus ones that are clean, cutthroat, and of course doesn't hurt the eye with like reading, and with reading text especially, and with images where you place them and how you choose colors. Of course, please, another thing, don't choose colors that are too bright or too dull, because that's not going to work with a website. And of course, choose colors that represent the JCL. So for my website, I use purple, and purple usually goes well with white. So I kind of kept it in a clean, kind of not too over elaborate kind of theme design. So if you want to make your own website, please take care of these little nuances, as well as like the big picture stuff, as in, it's very essential that you know where to put text, where you put things, where you put documents. So when you guys are submitting your website, we're not expecting you to make a full website that we can use immediately. We're just expecting you guys to show what you can do with some limited resources. And here's another thing. I mean, if you can't design, you can always use a template. There's nothing wrong with using a template. But in using a template, you need to make sure that you're using it correctly. When I mean correctly, I mean design, the way that words work, the colors that a template can give you, such that it's supposed to be something that is supposed to be your own, not a copy, or not like a carbon copy or just a bad copy. So do you need to know code to make a website? To be webmaster at least? I mean, the answer is no, you do not need to. So I based it off of my predecessor who used a Weebly, and I want to keep it pretty consistent. So I basically continued the Weebly tradition by using it, but I did put some code into it, so to make it easier, to make it more fluid. I mean, like, you don't have to use code at all, to be honest. I didn't use that much, but I did use some. For example, the calendar thing, that's one thing I added with code. Another thing I put in there was, let me check. There's like some document information. I hate using Weebly's the file thing where it looks really ugly and it kind of doesn't show that well. Instead, I choose to use an embed item thing from Google, which they provide the code for you, so that's even better. It's an HTML thing, but it makes your website a whole lot of difference between that little weird icon thing versus, you know, something that actually like displays your entire thing without having to just click a button that looks ugly. Yeah, basically, you don't need to know code, but I mean, it would be great if you do, but it's definitely not necessary to make a good website. A lot of the instructions on the website, a lot of the rubric that you would follow, a lot of that, it's not very much based on how well you can code, but whether can you make it good enough to facilitate information in a way where it's not ugly, that's not distracting, and that it just provides information for people who want to visit your website. So, in accordance to the website submissions contest for states and nationals, you have to follow through a pretty standard rubric that states, you know, are you adhering to standard grammatical, like, are you adhering to grammatical constructions, the basics? Are you making your website so that everybody would know what's going on, keeping it updated, keeping it modern, trendy, all that stuff? And that your website needs to be, of course, functional, because I mean, how are people going to grade your website if you can't even log on to it? For a state and national one, the rubric is pretty similar. It's out of, I believe, 200 points. Another thing for websites is that you need to submit monthly currency points, which is basically you submit basically updates on the website you've done the past month or so. Make sure you get on that, because that makes a whole lot of difference between who wins and who loses in in the website contest. So being webmaster, I tried to make sure that I got all the essential points down. Currency points is kind of like extra credit, which, you know, makes a difference between an A plus and A, that kind of thing. So for one thing I would say that I haven't mentioned in the past questions is make sure to submit currency points. And there will be reminders sent out on Facebook. They're not very periodic or very consistent in terms of updates, but that every single month it's kind of expected that you submit through it. The submission for each month is usually the first day of the month before you had it. So basically, if I want to submit March currency points, I would submit it by April 1st. And basically for these competitions and stuff, It's really up to you adhering to the rubric, and that's how you will win anything, is to follow a set of rules that other people have given to you. So basically, follow the rubric, which is available online and in jcl.org. Oh, so I guess some tips I would give to you webmasters is that I would say just continue some of the traditions I've added in. I've added in the new community service stuff, new publicity stuff that has all the events laid out and all that, like the announcements that you can check, so that you can, one, sign up for community service stuff, and two, you can see what is going on during JCL. It's most current stuff in JCL. And also I put some stuff in there that are such things as like contest, special notes that you might want to put. I also put a section with like everybody's like results, not like every single person's results, but all the strong individual ones, all that major ones that happen at states and nationals. Want to put that kind of thing, so that if you ever are interested in like looking back into your thing, especially if you're looking for college and what awards you got. I know some people already looked into the website for that, so that's something that probably like can be kept up, and it probably will provide nice things about it. Another tip I would give you, webmasters, is I underutilize this, but definitely add to like the updates blog, because like that one could be very useful in conjunction with publicity. You can talk to them about sharing like updates on Facebook and stuff, in which case you can put on the website, and it's very nice, nice and clean that way, and it looks like you have a lot of things going on, which is an extra bonus for updates and currency points, because currency points, you don't get them just because you submit them. You get them based on the quality of the work you put into it too. That's all.